everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Smith's YouTube channel. Today I am going to be talking about the summative lab that we're doing in my course. Basically, we have been working through how to do arrays, and we're building on the knowledge we've already built. So, we've learned loops, we've learned string operations, we've learned all of the Java basics. So we have been using loops to actually iterate through arrays, to fill them and print them out and manipulate them. So we're going to be doing a lab that will require students to actually use arrays in a lot of different ways and utilize loops to manipulate, fill, and print those arrays. Alright, so I'm going to jump right into it. So first off, I want to talk about the lab. The lab is called Student Account Generator. So in this, if you've ever been in school somewhere since technology has been a thing, you've probably been given an email account. So basically, somewhere, someplace, there's an Intel or IT group that is using random generators to generate these emails. So I know where we're at. It's 9, first initial, last name, @ and then the domain. So we're going to be writing a program that's going to randomly generate these for a make-believe college. All right. So if you read through the lab, it says you will start by creating 3 arrays that store 5 values each. Then you will write a for loop that asks the user to enter 5 student names. Write a for loop to generate random student IDs between 11111 and all the 9s. And then we'll add a little ending to it and then write a method to print it all out. Alright, so there is some for added fun. We're going to do that in the very last video. But today I did want to go ahead and start setting up this lab and do a little bit of it just to get your brain going. I feel like if I help you all start, you can kind of take off from there on your own. Alright, so I'm going to hop over into NetBeans, and obviously the first thing we need to do, start up a new project. Alright, so I'm going to name this Student Account Generator, but then I'm going to add the word video since this is for my video. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of all the unneeded comments. I don't need these comment blocks. Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the PDF. Alright, so you will start by creating 3 arrays that store 5 values each. Not hard, right? Not hard at all. It even tells us the type of the array. Alright, so our first one's going to be student names of type string. Alright, so that'll be string brackets student names equals new string and of size 5. Beautiful. Second one, int array that will store student ID numbers. Typo. Oh well. Alright, so int array student ID numbers equals new int and also 5. A string array that will contain student email addresses. Alright, so now string student emails equals new string 5. Alright, we're killing it this morning already, or today. Alright, so now we're going to write a for loop that asks the user to enter in 5 student names. Alright, so this lab is very straightforward. I think I'm going to walk through part 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to let y'all handle the rest. Alright, and then I'll probably make another video finishing this up a little bit later. Alright, so let's go ahead and write a for loop that asks the user to enter 5 student names. Alright, so when we do our for loops for arrays, first I'm going to comment for loop to ask for 5 student names. Alright, for int I equals 0. Remember, I is our iterator. As long as I is less than, and now we need the length of the array. We want to go from 0 to the length of the array because the array index starts at 0. So ours are of length 5, right? So we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and that'll give us our 5 spots, and then it'll fail when it goes to 5 because 5 is not less than 5. Alright, so for this one, we're going to do student names.length, and we're going to say I++. Oh, be careful. I spelled mine wrong. All right, student names. All right, so if you ever get red, first thing, go check your spelling. Most common mistake in programming. After that, really look at your syntax and stuff. All right, so for the for loop, we created the for loop. It's going to run 5 times. We need a first and last name, and we need to store them in all uppercase. All right, so we're going to ask the user to input a name. So name, number, and then what we can do is we can use I+1. Showed y'all this several times, so that way it'll say when I is 0, we'll add 1 and it becomes 1. So it'll say name number 1, and then the next time the loop iterates, it'll say name number 2. Alright, and then plus, let's go ahead and add a colon and a space, because good formatting is always great. Alright, so now we need to do user input right here. So normally I would look at you guys and say, how do we take input from the user? And you would look at me and say, scanner. Alright, so we're going to import a scanner. java.util.scanner. Then we're going to create the scanner. Static scanner keyboard equals new scanner system.in. Alright, so now we just use the scanner. Alright, so what we're going to do though is we're going to use the scanner to store in each array point. So we've got to call the array, which is student names and the brackets, but what is changing, our index that is changing every time is I. Alright, so equals keyboard.next, sorry, student names dot next, and we got to use line, alright, because they're doing first and last name, so we got to say next line. Alright, next line. If we use .next, we'll only get first name. It only takes the first word. We need the whole name, so next line. Alright, let's make sure we did everything. Write a for loop that asks the user to enter in 5 names, first and last, and store those values in the first array in all uppercase. Alright, so I showed y'all this in class, and I showed it in the last video. I showed it in problem number 8 of the arrays lab. But you can take your scanner, and because it's importing, or because it's scanning in a string, you can use string methods on the scanner call, and we're just going to say to uppercase to make everything uppercase. Alright, so that handles that. Alright, and the last one I'm going to work through with y'all is write a for loop to generate random student IDs from 111111 to 99999. Alright, so I can go ahead and tell you guys, we're going to need to pull up our notes. So if you remember, in this unit, we used these notes that are random, math, and decimal format. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes, and I know I'm going to need this little protocol, because I know what the start number is, and I know what the end number is. Alright, so we're going to need that here in a minute. Alright, so, but let's go ahead and do what it wants. So for loop to generate random student IDs. So I'm going to put that comment, for loop to random student IDs 1 2 3 4 5 6 4 5 6. All right, setting up the for loop again. Because it's not nested, we can still use I as our iterator. So int I is 0, I is less than. Alright, but now we're doing student ID numbers. Student ID numbers dot length and I plus plus. Alright, the loop is set up now. So now we got to do our implementation. So this is where we need to do our random. Alright, obviously in this unit we had notes on random, so I need to create a random generator. So I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to import that. Import java.util.random. Alright, then I'm going to create the random generator. Same format as our scanner. Random, randgen equals new random, but nothing goes in the parentheses. So I've now created a random generator that I can use. So in here, we got to store it into that array. So the array name was student ID numbers, and then add I again. is equal to, now we need to use the random generator. So rangen dot, and it's integers, so next int. Alright, but now we need to manipulate it. So we go to our notes. Alright, it's end minus start plus 1. So just to demonstrate, I'm going to put that in here. 999,999 minus 111,111 plus 1. Alright, so that is, I'm going to write a little comment right here. Dot next int end minus start plus 1, right? And then end minus start plus 1 plus start plus start. So then we need to do plus 111,111. Alright, so this should give us a random number between 111, 111, and 999,999. But let's simplify. So break out this bad boy. Been going strong since like 1982, the old Windows calculator. Alright, so 999,999 minus 111,111 plus 1 is 888,889. Alright, so 888,889. Just simplifying the code, guys. Alright, so there we go. So we've got that and we've got that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to go in here, and that's it, guys. I did 1, 2, and 3, which is, what I told you. You don't have to do this next step, but if you ever wanted to double check that what you were trying to do has worked, we would just print it. So I'm going to use a for loop to print arrays, alright, to check progress. All I'm doing is checking that what I've been doing actually worked. So I need another for loop, and you can actually use the length of either because they're both 5. So I can just say student names.length, but I could use student ID. It's student Smith, alright. And then I++. Okay. So I just want to print these out. So I'm going to just do a print statement, and I'm going to say, I'll do print line. I'll say student name. And then we just add student names at I. So we're just checking at I. And then I'm going to check to see that a student number was also created. Student ID number. Alright, and I just say student ID numbers at I. So I'm just checking to make sure that the program is working. You don't have to do this if you're just going to keep working through 4 and 5, but it's always good to check. Alright, so I'm going to run this. Name 1, Smitty, Bobby, Doug, Jeff, John. Okay, and then it prints them out in all caps, which I wanted, and it gives me a random 6-digit value. I'm going to remove, in my print statements, I'm going to remove that print line. Oh, no, that's not the right print line. I need to remove this print line right here. That's the one that's making it not on the same line. So I went and removed this print line, so that way when I run it, it lets me put the name in right next to it. So Doug, Bob, Jeff, John, Jill. There we go. Okay, I just wanted to see some random numbers that were not in the 5 and the 6. So we've got, starts with a 1 and a 7 and a 1 and a 4 and a 5. So far, guys, it looks like everything's working. So that's parts 1 through 3. We're going to be looking at that this week in class. Next week we'll look at 4, 5, and 4 added fun. But I just wanted to help you get a start. but you're going to be working on a lot of this on your own because it is our summative. All right. So as always, guys, I appreciate you being here. If you could take the time and just share, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.